Welcome to the good, the bad, and the pure evil, and welcome back to the day 5 of our week of Halloween tales from the birthplace of Halloween, Ireland. Before we continue, hit that subscribe and like button and ring the hell out of that little bell. Grab your blanket, dim the lights, sip your pumpkin spice latte, and let's begin. Today's story happens in the village of Abhartach, and it's about the ruler, an evil, menacing pint-sized tyrant called Abhartach. He was small, some said dwarf, and growing up was not fun. He managed though to get work for a druid, which is an old priest who dabbled in sorcery and everything magic. One day the druid and his pint-sized assistant vanished. Soon after this, Abhartach returned, but he had changed. His smell was described as a stench and could be smelt from far, far away. When he appeared, he had eyes of glowing green. When he came back, he was angry and immediately sought revenge to anyone who ever did him wrong or ever mocked him. He also started to take whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, from whoever he wanted. If you denied or defied him, you were hit with illness, squashed by rocks, or found dead one morning with a ghastly look. For years, people cried to be freed from this menace and vengeful tyrant. Their cries went unheard until one day a chieftain called Tyrant heard the village cries and came on his horse to deal with this menace. There was a small and quick battle in which Abhartach was killed. Locals rejoiced and had a party or ceilidh to celebrate that now they were freed from the tyrant. They poured drink onto the mound where Abhartach was buried, standing up as what was the custom back then. As the party wound down, villagers returned to their beds, merry, happy, safe and relieved. But little did they know the wrath they just had unleashed. The next night, the masters of the underworld weren't okay with letting Abhartach lie. They raised him up, filled him with evil and anger, and ordered him to seek vengeance. That night, as villagers slumbered, a flurry of thunderous raps came at their doors. When they opened the door, the Abhartach stood, more gruesome and twisted than ever before. A new terror started called the Red Knights. The dwarf couldn't be bartered with this time. No cattle or young maiden would quench his thirst. He wanted blood, and that's exactly what he got. Villagers cried out again to Tyrant, and he came back and killed Abhartach again, and again buried him standing up, and again Abhartach returned. With each return, the Abhartach came back angrier, more evil, more vengeful, and with a bigger desire for blood. Becoming fed up with repeat killings, Tyrant visited a druid to find out what he was doing wrong and how he could correct it. The druid claimed the Abhartach was now the Nav Mav, which translated, it means the walking dead. The druid went on to say he could never be fully slain, but could be contained, and he told Tyrant exactly how to do that. Armed with the information, Tyrant returned with a sword smeared with yew, a poisonous wildflower, and he pierced the Abhartach with this, and buried him, this time upside down. A large stone was placed on top and surrounded with hawthorns. On a side note, hawthorns have superstition in Ireland. They are believed to be the crown of thorns on Christ when he died, and are said to belong to the fairies. We are warned as children never to touch them, as they would anger the fairies, and if we were to take them home, We were not to cross the thresholds for fear of immediate death. So yeah, hawthorns not to be messed with, even though they smell divine. But back to Abhartach. He's subdued, buried upside down, and now with the rock and hawthorn is locked forevermore in this tomb. The story doesn't end there though. Abhartach's grave is now called Slatafriti Dalam, and there's a large rock with two small rocks under a hawthorn tree. In 1997, the area was being cleared. Workers tried to cut and trim the tree over the grave. They claim their chainsaw stopped working 3 times. It was also reported when they tried to move the large rock, a steel chain snapped, chopping the hand off a worker, and once again the ground was soaked in blood. And that's the tale of Abhartach, the Irish vampire and pint-sized tyrant. Join me tomorrow for day 6 of our Halloween Tales week, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button and ring the hell of the little bell. This was the good, the bad and the pure evil.